What's up, Dallas? It's your girl Rachel. I am back for another amazing episode with my special guest, author Marcine Moore. How are you today, ma'am?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. I've been looking forward to this interview with Marcine since we have booked our time because she is a poet and an author, and I love poetry and I love reading. So this is just like going to be the best interview, I think. So.
Let's make it that way. Let's make it that way.
Yes, ma'am. So for our audience that's watching, could you please tell them your social media and how they can find you?
Okay. I'm on TikTok under Marcine M Moore, Instagram at the real Miss Moore, and Facebook at my name Marcine M. Moore.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'm that's
Do you have a website where people
no, everything is happening so fast. I'm actually in the process of getting a website, setting up TikTok shop, and I should have that launched maybe by the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
So,
That's a 2024 goal, so that's really amazing.
yeah,
I'm going to pray and bless you for that,
thank you.
uh,
Thank
because
you.
yeah, I mean, growth is so important. But I
Yeah,
really want to talk about your book, The Phoenix Heart, which is a poetry book.
yes.
So, how did this project come about?
Well, I have been writing poetry for a while, and my cousin, I mentioned her in the preface, Raphael Williams.
Mhm.
She kept pushing me to enter a poetry contest because I'd share my poems with different people, and they'd be like, "You have a gift, you should write." So I went to enter the poetry contest, and it was to write a book. So if you did so much, you could write a book. But the company that I was dealing with was shady. They were flighty, and
Mhm.
so I said, you know what? She put this fire in me. I'm gonna go ahead and try to write a book and see what avenues I need to take to do it. And so I ended up with Barnes and Nobles after long researching, um, was able to write and print, and the rest is why I'm sitting here. It's a bestseller, for an indie author. So if you don't know what indie author, um, bestseller, and it's on their website still selling. So that was the progression. She just lit the fire for me to do something that I should have done years ago, but God's time is always perfect.
Absolutely. And I know we were talking about that behind the scenes a few minutes ago, that God's timing is perfect in everything. So I want to talk to you about this poem that you have. And because I like it, it resonates with a lot of people. So for those of you who are just joining, so Marcine Moore has a book called Phoenix Heart, which is a book of poetry. And there are a few of them that I've already fell in love with. So the main, I think it's like your audience favorite is a poem called Roles, which is basically talking about the two roles of the girl and the boy. And I want to know the story behind this poem.
Um, well, so, so the story behind it was what made me write it. It was a summer night, and I was sitting on my balcony, and I saw two teenagers.
Mhm.
And when you first meet someone, everything is nice and grand. And I was just thinking, oh my goodness, that's a poem. And so I've been married, separated, divorced. So I thought about it that that starts your roles right there, and you don't even realize it because you're all giddy. He's courting you. You're happy to accept him courting you. And then if you happen to stay together and married, you already have sealed your roles. Like that's what's said in the poem. But as time goes, each person fails to recognize what the other one needs in the relationships, and so you can separate from each other. And that's what inspired me on Rose, and that's what the whole poem is basically about. You with somebody, and you don't know if you that you're running out of time with them, whether it's the male or the female, because you're stuck in your roles that you think you should play and not the role that you need to play with your partner.
Right. Like it's kind of like you're not seeing it until after it's too late that you
Yeah.
could have played a better role and that he could have
Correct.
played a better role. Yes.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that's just I think that's actually resonates with society these days. I think whenever people start distancing themselves, they actually don't take the time to rekindle what they lost, or what's the word, they don't try to understand where they disconnected. And
Right.
like this poem is really talking about just that. They disconnected and went about their ways. And I was just like, wow, dang, like dagger to the heart. Like that really has happened many times.
And it happens daily with people, either
Mhm.
slowly or fast or slow, but the disconnection can happen if you're not paying attention to your partner and listening, hearing
Ab-
them. You can listen, you got to hear and understand.
Yes, exactly. And another one that I was talking to you before, why do I love him so much? Like this whole poem here is just like, wow. For y'all, you got to get her book to really understand these poems. So why do I love him so much? I'm trying to understand. I just adore him. I love everything about this man. When I look in his eyes, I see all his fears and doubts, but I continuously try to reconfirm the thing he should know without question. I am loyal, faithful, and true. Why look for anyone else? Why would why I would not do that to you? Question mark. Yes. So whenever I was reading this, I was telling Marcine earlier, it really made me think about my husband and about the truth that men also suffer from relationship trauma. And this actually speaks about relationship trauma and how this woman is loving this man even in his brokenness. And I think that's a topic that's not spoke about enough. So, oh my gosh, like tell me why you feel like this is important to bring this to light for men as well.
As I feel like in society, because men are raised to be strong, they're raised to hide hurt or pain. You know, when they're little, I have three sons, so I had to watch that. Like, suck it up, you know, if something's happening. But men, we're all human beings, and everybody has emotion, and everybody experiences pain. Now, the thing about men, and this is just my opinion, I feel like that when they have been traumatized, they pull back and they
Mhm.
always hold that. Unlike women, we kind of suck it up and we'll try to open our heart back up to love again. But for a man, it's really something different for him. It's because men don't like to be hurt. Men don't like to be perceived as weak. And I think that's something that society has placed as a label on men.
Mhm.
It's not fair, you know, but that's the label that men have received. And so my mindset in writing this poem was when I met the person who was helping me heal, we were healing each other because if you sit down and a man opens up to you, the least you can do is listen and try to understand. Because again, it goes back to roles. That's how disconnect continues. You can't always expect someone um, to take and take and take, and you don't give. You know, you're taking from them. And when I say take and take, but you can't give and you can't open up and be receptive to him and his needs.
Right.
Um, it may not be a popular opinion, but it's an opinion that people should evaluate and look at.
Mhm.
You know, what are your
Exactly. Yeah, especially when like mental health awareness is so much out there right now. I also have children as well, adult children who have experienced this kind of stuff through relationship trauma, trying to literally please another person to the point where they feel like they're not worthy because they can't make that person happy. So, and then, ultimately they kind of give up on relationships because they just think that they're all the same. And I read that in the poem that he was just looking at women all the same, and you
Right.
that different person. So, you know, that poem really resonated, especially since, I have married someone who had been through that relationship trauma, and we're healing each other. I still tell my husband, he's got the duct tape to my heart. So he's literally like putting me together piece by piece. And he's just like, we heal each other, but we started that as a friendship more than anything, and as an unconditional love for that person. Like you were truly accepting them, it broken, torn apart, just you two are growing together in friendship or in a relationship. And that's just really something to be beautiful to talk about.
Right,
So,
and it's not easy, because it's not an easy process to love anybody, male or female, through. A lot of the times, men can come in and they love women through extraordinary circumstances, and they deserve the same. They deserve the same consideration. Now, let me preface: I'm not saying be a doormat to someone who isn't worthy, but
mhm,
if that person is worthy of love and repair, and he's truly trying to heal, yes, but don't be a doormat. Let's separate that, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, it's, I think whenever I'm glad you said that too about being a doormat, because there are some people who will join a relationship more out of feeling guilty for the person or feeling like they're obligated to be with that person instead of being with them because they truly love them. And, I think that's also something that society, puts out there. Well, they're not really talking about that, to be honest. They're not putting it out there, and it's not being spoken about. But I believe people heal in many different ways, and that love, like these poems, love, it heals, but love also hurts. And
Yeah.
yeah, and my husband and I were talking about that because there's songs. My husband and I, we listen to Spanish music all the time together, and I'm starting to learn how to comprehend the songs. That even though they sound really like uppity, Tejano music songs and norteñas and things like that, it sounds really nice, that you can dance to it, but the songs are really like sad, like the actual
Listen
lyrics.
to the words.
Yeah, so I just told him, I was like, wow, like that's hard. And he goes, well, yeah, babe. He goes, love is not always about being, running around in the flowers and the fields and stuff, but love hurts too. So when you truly love someone, you'll hurt when they're gone. And I was just like, my gosh, like that's
Very
deep.
wise. Yeah.
And it's just beautiful. So I am really enjoying your book. Thank you for sharing it to me.
Oh, you're welcome.
But I kind of want to also talk about your journey into poetry. So you started doing writing a while back, and
Yes.
I kind of want to break down the emphasis on why you started writing in the first place, why you do what you do.
Well, I dabbled around in junior high. I've always had a attraction to writing. So let's go back to high school, junior high. I
Mhm,
was a little nerd, kind of, sort of,
mhm,
in English, AP English, would like to write essays. And when I was in junior high, my girlfriends, at the time, we would take a spiral notebook and we'd write sections of a story. Because back back in the 80s, yeah, I just dated myself. They had a show called Cliffhangers. And so we're like, oh, okay, we can write. So I started and I passed the spiral around, and we'd pass it back and forth amongst each other and write. And so
mhm,
um that's kind of what made me start wanting to write. And then my parents were a huge influence, because instead of us watching TV, my mother and father would always take us to, when we'd go to the mall, they'd take us to the bookstore. So I knew nothing but to go into the bookstore. Um, And like some of my, I would read the Chronicles of Narnia. What was that? The Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe by Kay Lewis, and then Madeline Engel, Wrinkle in Time. That's
Yes.
still one of my favorite, and I'm 52. That is still one of my favorites. So that's what influenced me, was kind of fantasy, if you say fantasy fiction, because even the Bridge to Terabithia, I'm thinking about all of my favorites back then. They kind of inspired me about how I wanted to write and what I wanted to touch. And Bridge to Terabithia, I love that book, and it still tears me up to this day, because that was really a great book about Leslie, and I can't think of her friend's name, the relationship they had with each other, and then when he lost her, when she drowned in the river. Remember, that was my first experience with. I guess you want to say a love and loss, even though it was platonic. It was a love and loss, and so through the years, like I progressing, I've always written, and I'd write poetry. So I'd write poetry in my phone and I email it to me. And I have a huge folder full of poetry. And I'd share it every now and then. And my friends are like, you have a gift, you have a gift. But until you as a person recognize what your gift is, and until you're ready to share it, it doesn't happen. And I finally got that nudge, and I finally was ready to share. And I finally didn't care who thought what, because I figured that if one poem could help someone, that would be amazing. Because like I said in the interview the other night, I didn't expect to spell 10 books, and then you wake up and you're a bestseller. Um, I'm still in awe. I'm still humbled behind that.
Mm-hmm. And I applaud you for that, for taking the stand and being one of those writers that's actually putting out relatable content.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I love that book, Bridge to Terabithia. My favorite book of all time, I'm just gonna say it, is Pride and Prejudice.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Such a great story about judging a book by its cover. So, the actual love that she finds in the end, and it's just amazing how you can just reopen up a book. You see the cover, so I see the cover that's right behind you, but
Yes.
you open it up and you're just like, wow, like this is really all about the heart, and the heart is on fire. So like Phoenix heart, like it resonates with all of your poetry you have here, and that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
I'm just humbled every time I hear that, because um the poetry was written, each poem in there was written at a different time. And the thing is when I write my poems, I date them. And
Mhm,
so when we were pulling them together and they decided what order, some of the newer poems were kind of toward the front, along with um putting it together, but it showed an evolution of the heart.
mhm.
And I just say God is amazing, because the things that I went through, I never thought that it would turn out so terrific, so wonderful, right? And to say it like that, to put it's a story. It's a story of evolution of the
It
heart.
It really is, and it literally flows so naturally from one poem to the next, and I really love everything that you're doing right here. So, I would like to put an emphasis on our young audience. So we are a family-oriented magazine and also YouTube channel, and we have young talents that actually watch our show. Some kids that are young writers, some young actors out there that are really just taking hold of, the people who are really making a difference and being positive and being inspiring. So for our young poets out there and the young writers out there, what little nugget of advice could you give them on their journey?
On your journey, you do it for you. You're not doing it for anyone else. You speak your voice. A lot of times people um, want to have influence or tell you, oh, this isn't right. don't do this. I'm not saying don't listen, but you have to be sincere and true to yourself because everybody's not going to write the same. And what one person receives from what you write may not be what another person receives. So just be true to yourself. Do it out of sincerity, out of anything. And I believe that success comes when you're honest and true, and it's not money's good. Don't get me wrong, money's good to come with it, but I feel like you're more blessed when you're doing it from a place of within, earnest, and you're sincere about doing it. Yeah, you have to do it for you.
Mhm. Absolutely. So that's for our young authors and our writers out there. So I know y'all are watching. So y'all please comment, give some good, follow up feedback on the comments as soon as you watch this YouTube video, because I'm telling you, Marcine is going to read this. She's going to watch the video. She's going to share it. Somebody is going to be touched by your journey. And I just wanted to give you your flowers for literally putting your heart on paper, being transparent through your words, your lyrical words here. And I'm in love with it. I'm in love with the book. I'm in love with everything. So I will share
Oh,
this.
thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And it's just a really awesome experience to meet you personally, and to resonate with you on our love for poetry and why it speaks to the heart.
Right.
So I know that poetry always speaks to my heart, and I will cherish every word that I read. But I just did an interview with another young lady literally right before you. Um, and her name, she owns Lumpy Grits Artistry, and I would love for you to actually talk to her and watch
Yes,
her interview,
ma'am.
because she is a poet as well. Also, another poet that we've had on our show, Black Caesar. Have you heard of him?
No.
Yeah,
It
he's
sounds
a spoken word.
interesting.
Yes, he is literally a spoken poet. He does a lot of poetry slams here in DFW, and he is just all about making sure that people resonate with the word in the poetry. So I really would love you to connect with them and talk to them and say, "Hey, Rachel told me about you, so let's connect." And then
Yes.
maybe I can get all of you on the same show at the same time, and then y'all could actually like have a group interview with the magazine. That would be amazing. I can't wait.
That sounds awesome.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. So,
yes.
again, for our audience, as we are running out of time right now, but for our audience, once more, could you please tell them your social media and where they can find you?
Okay. On TikTok, I'm Marcine M Moore. I had to think about it. Facebook, I'm Marcine M Moore. And then on Instagram, it's the THA real REAL Ms. MZ Moore MOORE. So
Absolutely. And I look forward to the next books that you're going to work on, because I know they're going to happen. But
yeah,
for now,
yes,
let's be praying the biggest blessing over Phoenix Heart, which is their bestseller. And please, y'all go pick up a copy. Go to Barnes and Nobles, go get her stuff, and buy, support, like, share, comment.
please.
Follow,
Yes,
follow.
it's online. It's online. You have to order online. So just type in Phoenix Heart or type in my name, Marcine M Moore, and it'll come up. Promise you.
Absolutely. And then also for our followers out there, please go follow us on social media. What's Up Dallas Magazine. We are the top 9 links on Google as soon as you search us. And I look forward to another episode. Thank you, Miss Moore, for being on my show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.